Let me bring in my leadoff team here. Joining the conversation, Kurt Bardella, NBC News Think contributor and former spokesperson for the House Oversight Committee. Kurt has been a registered member of both parties. Also with me, Jason Johnson, MSNBC political contributor and politics editor at TheRoot.com. Kurt, help me out. It wouldn't work. These things are already being printed, and there will be major legal challenges. So is this anything more than a political show for the president?
Well, I think the danger here, Stephanie, is that with Donald Trump, we're not just playing with empty words. He will try to force the issue and do unprecedented things. And I think it's important that people realize where this question originated and when it came about. In March of last year, the Census Bureau released a report saying that by 2045, white people would be the minority in this country. A few weeks later is when Wilbur Ross announced that they were going to add the citizenship question to the census for the first time in 70 years. And now what we're seeing is this reverse engineering of, well, it turns out the rationale for why we wanted to do this, it's probably illegal. Supreme Court struck it down. They don't have the legal grounds to actually continue fighting that fight. So now they're trying to create completely new grounds to justify a decision that they've already reached for a motivation that's already public. And I think it's not going to stand up in court.
All right, Kurt, we're going to give you a free pass, but when you say unprecedented on this show, you have to give me $2. Jason, let's actually share what the president said about this last week in terms of why the question needed to be there.
Well, you need it for many reasons. Number one, you need it for Congress. You need it for Congress, for districting. You need it for appropriations. Where are the funds going? How many people are there? Are they citizens? Are they not citizens? You need it for many reasons.
Jason, does the president really think he's going to get this thing added? Or is this just a play for his base? When he goes to run again, all the things he didn't get done, he'll say, I wanted to get it done. I fought for you. It's the system.
So, Stephanie, what we've seen so far is that people lie to President Trump all the time and tell him he can get things he can't get. So I'm sure he was angry when the Supreme Court said, hey, look, we don't really believe your reason. It's just like with the Muslim ban. You can't tell us it's this. We have a pretty good idea that it's that. And then William Barr and everybody else will say, OK, Mr. President, we'll find a way to do it. I think the president actually believes he can get some of this nonsense done, even if you have entire DOJ legal teams who say this is impossible. So that's the danger, I think, of how people coddle this president, that he has crazy ideas that don't make any sense, that very possibly have racist motivations behind them, and everybody else pretends that he can make it happen, even when legally and structurally and historically it ain't gonna work.
Well, how important is it, Kurt, for the president to have Bill Barr in his corner? If Barr is providing legal cover, isn't the president kind of in the clear?
Well, I think that remains to be seen, but I think Bill Barr has been instrumental in allowing this president to completely destroy the pillars of our check and balance system, whether it's no showing congressional hearings, not adhering to congressional subpoenas, all the conflict we're seeing between the oversight prerogative of Congress and the executive branch has been really spearheaded and masterminded by William Barr. And so I think that's why we're in this situation in the first place. But I think it's also important to note that Republicans have by and large stood by and allowed all of this to happen, completely contradicting everything they used to say they stood for. Before the 2010 census, when Barack Obama was president, Republicans issued a resolution which the most conservative members like Jim Jordan voted for that said the census needs to include counting every single living person. Didn't make a single mention about citizenship.
My goodness. Jason, I want to ask a question that came out in today's first read. By continuing to fight for the citizenship question, does President Trump achieve his intended purpose here? A chilling effect on the communities responding to the census.
Oh, completely. But he does that by, jailing babies at the border and threatening ICE raids every 15 minutes. All of this is part of this overall plan, this overall hostility to non-white people in America. Now, whether it's through the census, whether it's through threatening raids, the president's overall goal is to say, look, if you don't look like a certain kind of white person, I don't necessarily want you to feel comfortable. If you are not a Republican supporter, I don't want you to feel comfortable. My policies are not going to be driven by a way of making America great or improving our economy. It's about changing the demographic dynamics of this entire country. So he's accomplishing his goal. And you've already had social scientists come out and say, look, even talking about the census question of citizenship has frightened some communities that are already difficult to get in contact with in all parts of the South and different parts of the Southwest.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.